Доброго вечора, welcome back. Okay, so you might have seen a vlog on my channel called Reading Books That My COVID Vaccine Bought Me. And there were 6 books in that whole little haul, and I read 2 of them in the first part. What that is, in case you haven't seen that vlog, please watch it. It was pretty fun, and this is part 2. Basically, back when COVID vaccines were first announced and everybody started getting them, our government, the Ukrainian government, offered to give a little sum of money to anybody who got vaccinated. And I got vaccinated, my mom also got vaccinated, and she didn't want to use her money. We could use that money on the in businesses that suffered during the pandemic, when all businesses were closed. Some of those businesses were obviously bookshops, so I spent my money on books. My mom called me and she said, hey, I don't need anything in any of those businesses. Do you want to use my money on books? So I bought 6 books. And the second round of this vlog is going to be The Story of a Shipwrecked Sailor by Gabriel Garcia Marquez and The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. Look at this beautiful, beautiful illustrated edition. I'm going to be showing you the illustrations as I go through it, just a few of them, because it's got them all throughout and it's so gorgeous. I am so excited to read it. I love Neil Gaiman and I love Marquez, so this is just, this cannot be a lose. I already started this last night. I didn't know that this was a non-fiction. What the story is I thought this was just like, a fiction short survival story. This is a story of a man, I cannot remember his name right now, I read it yesterday, of a man who was one of 8 men who fell overboard on a destroyer off the coast of Colombia in 1955. He was the only one to survive. There was a search in the waters for 4 days. After 4 days, all the people that fell overboard were declared dead, but a week later he washed up on the shores of Colombia and he was barely alive. So this is the story of that man. Marquez was a journalist then in a magazine, in a newspaper, and he met with this man to write down meticulously everything that has happened to him. This is first person from the person of the sailor who survived. And this is a story not only of his survival, but also of how the government treated him poorly after all of this, because at first he was regaled as a national hero. He went on this tour, like it says here, beauty queens were kissing him, he got all this money and everything, and then he was destitute and nothing good has ever happened to him because of that story, because of the way the government of Colombia acted in that way, and that was at the time of a dictatorship. I love Marquez's personal views on the history of Colombia, and I think this is going to be very interesting. I already started it, and it's going great. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you a lot of interesting footage in this vlog because I'm pretty sick. You can probably still hear it in my voice. It's not COVID this time. It's just like a flu, cold, or something like that. But I'm sitting at home, so I'm not going anywhere interesting. Like I might show you like a bird out of the window or something. Maybe I'll bake something. I don't know. I'll try to show you as much interesting footage as I possibly can while I read these books. And I'll see you in a second with an update.
Stop eating snow! Stop it! It's time. Food.
Hello. Okay, so update. This is really good. This is not written in the style of Marquez as I know it, or as you probably know it, because 2 things. First, it was written when he was really young. And 2, it was written from the words of another person. He is writing down what this man, what happened to him, is narrating. So there are certain points where Marquez's voice comes through, but this is not his story, and I am enjoying it so much. This is a tragic story, and whenever he mentions, he's just talking about these sailors that were with him on the ship, and he says, oh, this guy had this really bad seasickness, and he kept talking about his family and all the presents he was bringing to his wife, and if only he knew that 24 hours later he would be dead at the bottom of the sea. That is such a harrowing phrase. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. Also, I gave Alice this ugly bunny that I had from Christmas. He had like candy with him, and she's already tearing it to pieces and pulling the stuffing out of him. Kill the bunny! Kill the ugly thing! Kill it! Oh, look at her. Look at it. Look at her. Look at it destroying it. There's gonna be batting everywhere. Hello, good evening. I didn't do anything useful today and I didn't read, but we played a tabletop game all day long. It's called Of Mice and Mystics or something like that. I'm not sure of the correct translation, but it's really fun, and now all I want to do is like draw mice with little swords and in little dresses. But I'm gonna go wash my hair and read a book about a man lost at sea while floating in the tub, and then I'm gonna make that stupid green goddess salad and hope that it heals my depression. Because I watched one recipe once, and now that's all that YouTube is showing me, so I just have to make it. I got all the ingredients, so now I just have to make it. And I'll hopefully update you on this today.
Alisa, пошли. That's my happy dog.
And this is me. Hello. We got cat food and stuff. Alice licked everybody at the shop. It was wonderful. Okay, so the story of a shipwrecked sailor. It's genuinely one of the scariest books I've ever read. Because when you read about a man on a life raft in the middle of the ocean, alone for days, with sharks around him, and you know that it's non-fiction, that's so friggin' scary. The ocean really fascinates me, but I don't know if I would have been able to do what he did. I don't know if many people would have been able to do what he did. But then again, the will to live is a wonderful thing. Today my plans are to finish that book, because tomorrow, well actually at 2 a.m. tonight, a readathon starts that I need to participate in. So I need to have this book done so that I can start some new ones. Hello, I finished toning my paper. Here it is. That's not all of it. That's like just half of it. I don't know how much I made. I kept going until I got tired. I listened to an audiobook and watched some YouTube videos, some booktube, and now I'm going to make a salad, and then I'm gonna go do a little bit of work so that I can start the readathon too. Hello, okay, so I didn't make that salad because my blender is a little bitch, so I had to order another one. I literally went online and bought a blender because the one I have doesn't work, and I was so mad because I was trying to make this stupid salad for a whole week and the blender doesn't work, and then I realized that it's just the wrong one. So you don't care about the salad. Why am I talking about a salad on a book channel? Anyway, I just finished the story of a shipwrecked sailor and I gave it 5 stars. It was so good. It was amazing. Genuinely, one of the scariest books I've ever read. Like, this is a non-fiction story about a man spending 10 days in the middle of the ocean on a life raft with sharks around him. At one point, he catches, I don't think that anything I tell you about this book is a spoiler because you know he survives. At one point, he catches a seagull and kills it to eat it, but he cannot eat it in the end, and he throws it out of the raft to the sharks, and that almost made me cry. And then when he thinks about that seagull again and he feels remorse for killing that innocent creature and he couldn't even eat it, and it's just things like that. And then when he comes back home and people regale him as a hero and he just says, I just survived. I just fucking survived. If there was food and water and stuff in the life raft, you wouldn't have thought I was a hero, because the only thing I did was didn't die. And he got a lot of money out of it, and it helped him for a while. And then he went to the El Espectador, where Gabriel Garcia Marquez was working as a journalist at the time, to tell his story. And this story came out as 14 installments, one each day, in the El Espectador newspaper. And this was in 1955, and only in 1970, Marquez published this as a book with his name attached, because before that people didn't know that he wrote it. They everybody thought that this was just the sailor's story. These are the interviews that Marquez wrote down with the sailor, changing them a little bit into his own literary words to make it a more readable experience. And there's a lot of articles online talking about the integrity of this book, and maybe just because I'm such a Marquez fan, but I think that I read a few of those articles just now, and a couple of them made me mad because they were like, he just wrote down the story. Yeah, that's what journalists do, you asshat. So basically, I could talk about it for a very long time. Basically, this man, Luis Alejandro, I forgot his last name, unfortunately, I'm sorry. Luis Alejandro Velasco, he fell overboard the Caldas, the ship, the destroyer that he was on. And it was not supposed to have cargo on it, but it did anyway. And there was no storm. The sea was just a little choppy, and the cargo started going around the deck. The ship was keeling a little bit, so 8 sailors fell overboard, and he was one of them, and he was the only one that survived. And he died in the year 2000. He was 66 years old, and I just think it's a fascinating story. Like what you're willing to do to survive, the way our brain operates. At one point, he starts to hallucinate, he talks to the hallucination, and just the things, the way you feel when you're alone in the middle of the ocean, because at certain points he felt genuinely happy, and I could understand that really well from the way the story was told. This was fantastic. This was so good. I love Marcus so much, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to read the story. And I'm really happy of that. Now I'm going to move on to my next book, is The Ocean of the End at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I'm actually going to read it in a few days after the readathon's over, but I'm really, really, really excited for this. I don't know what it's about. I just know that it's fantasy about a little boy. That's it, I think. And I'll see you soon with an update.
It's snowing again. Snow.
Hello. So, the 72 hours in a haunted house readathon is over, and we're back to our regularly scheduled programming. I'm going to start The Ocean at the End of the Lane tonight. So excited. Oh, that was my little dog. Did you hear her? You are so precious. I'm so excited to read this book. I have no idea what it's about. I just know that it's magic-y, and it's about a little boy, I think, or maybe a little boy and a little girl, because they're here on the cover, and it's illustrated. I also pulled out my sewing machine. Yes. And I have a bunch of fabric here that I bought yesterday when I went out with my mom, and I'm gonna make kitchen towels for myself, because all of mine are old and gross and full of holes. And I also might make myself a pillowcase. Or a couple. Yeah, I really love my sewing machine. I'm so excited to sew, because I haven't been sewing since like the start of the war. So like for almost a year, I've been sewing sporadically, like here and there. Whenever I got an order for something sewn, I would make it, but I haven't been like consistently just sewing, and I love to do it. So I'm excited to do that tonight. But also I need to go and edit my vlog for the 72 hours in the haunted house. And I just wanted to like magically edit itself and upload so I can sit here and sew. And just start this and just read. I just want to go back in the blanket and read. So yeah. I also need to eat, and I cannot remember if I actually had anything today, because that's like a normal thing to have and to speak about on the internet, right? I'll be back soon, hopefully with an update about the book. Right, that's St. Sophia's Cathedral. This is normally a statue of our Queen Olga, but all of our statues have been covered like that so that they wouldn't be destroyed by airstrikes. That's the city center. Good evening. So, about to start this. And I really think I'm going to fly through this, because apparently it's similar in style and like genre to The Graveyard Book, which is one of my favorite books, and I read that in like 1.5 days. So, and I better fly through this, because I still have 4 books on my February TBR that I haven't even made a dent in. There's my little dog here. You cannot see her, but she's very soft. Okay, so I'm gonna go start this, and I'll update you soon. Right, hello. So I'm on page 54. This is really flying by. I got distracted last night because we had guests, and then I had to make pizza and stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna read it now, and I already have actually a recommendation for anybody who loved this book, but I'm not gonna tell you now, because I'm gonna save that for a video. Okay, so while I was doing the 72 hours in the haunted house readathon, this book was a possibility for my cosmic horror pick, and I was like, why is it cosmic horror? Like, how can it be cosmic horror? And now I get how it can be cosmic horror. Trigger warning, for like mild body horror, which is something I did not expect. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, like there's no like gore or anything, but there's this kind of like gross thing that happens. It's weird. Right, so I'm at page 154, and it's pretty spooky, but I'm enjoying it a lot. And the illustrations are so amazing because this whole story is this man remembering his childhood. So all of it is just his memories as he's sitting on a park bench, and the illustrations convey that beautifully because they're done in a dry brush with ink, and they look like they are kind of coming out from the fog, so they convey the fact that it's a memory really well. Also, like, my sleep schedule has gone to shit again because it's 4:15 a.m. and I just made coffee. I'm on page 240. This is really intense. I'm participating in reading sprints on Quarty's channel, Q's channel, and I love Q. She's amazing. I just found her channel this evening and I've read most of this book on the channel, on the sprints. This is so intense, I cannot wait to talk about it. We are the sprints. Hello. So, I've got 50 pages left in the ocean at the end of the lane, and I'm incredibly tired. It's almost 8 in the morning, and I haven't been to bed yet. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep right now and finish this first thing when I wake up in the morning, and then I'll film the end of the vlog. I went to the kitchen for a glass of water, and I remembered that I put bread in the oven. So I opened the oven, and I'm thinking, okay, if it burned, the whole kitchen would be filled with smoke. And because we have a gas oven and a gas stove, sometimes, because it's a stupid old stove, sometimes the oven turns off on its own. So the bread hasn't finished baking. So now I cannot go to sleep because I need to finish baking that stupid bread. So I'm going to sit next to the kitchen so I don't forget about it and keep reading. Or I might play Animal Crossing because I'm too tired. Too tired. Why am I like this? I've literally been napping all day long. I have like 60 pages left, and Princess from the Castle Library is doing sprints right now, so I'm going to join and finish it, and I'll update you soon. Okay, доброго вечора. So, I just finished The Ocean, the End of the Lane. 4 stars, 4.5 stars, almost 5 stars. Princess's sprints are still going, but I'm going to film the end of this. Also, like, I promise I have other shirts. This is just like my comfort pajamas. So, this is a story about a young boy who lives in a country house with his family. And he meets this girl on a farm nearby who says that the little pond at the end of her garden is an ocean. She takes him on an adventure, and magical things start to happen. There's an evil being that they need to defeat. This is told in a way of a memory. This man, when he's an adult, is coming from a funeral of somebody, a family member, it's not mentioned whom, and he goes back to this farm to remember all the things that happened to him in his childhood. This is about childhood trauma. This is about what it is to be a child, and what it is to be an adult, and what it is to leave the grief and the wonder of childhood back, and to forget what it is like to be young when you enter into the adult world. This is beautiful and heartbreaking and very, very calm in the way that it is told. Perfect. This was great. This was amazing. Also, the illustrations, like I already said, they add so much to the story. The illustrator is Elise Hurst, who is also a writer, I think. And if you don't have the illustrated edition, I highly suggest you just look up the illustrations to know what I'm talking about, because they are just so gorgeous and they add so much to the story. This is what they look like. They are done in this dry ink style and they are just fantastic. Perfect. So my second installation of books that COVID vaccination got me went really well. 2 books left in this list. Please let me know if you've read these books and what you think of them, if you have, or if you want to add them to your TBR now that you heard me talk about them. Thank you so much for joining me and for watching this vlog. If you don't feel like talking in the comments, please leave me a teacup emoji so that I know you are here and you've been on this journey with me. Thank you so much for joining me. Slava Ukraini!